Welcome to Layers of Communication with your host, Lydia Taggart. Life presents experiences that add a layer to who we are and how we see the world, affecting how we communicate. Lydia is here to help you take apart the layers and create new ways to connect and build relationships. So now, please welcome the host of Layers of Communication, Lydia Taggart.
Hello everyone. This is Lydia with Layers of Communication. I am super excited to be here with you today. Let's get this light on, see if that helps anything a little bit. Welcome to Layers of Communication. Today we're going to be talking about structured spontaneity. What does that mean? That's kind of an opposites combination, right? We want to be spontaneous. We want to have fun. We want to do things just whenever we want, whatever we want. And here's the problem with that. We need some structure and limits to feel safe. It's all about being safe. But when we get just in the structure, just in the to-do list, we get bored and boring. And that's where a lot of relationships go sour. Like, oh, we're so predictable. Oh, we know what's going to happen. We have peanut butter and jelly for lunch every day. And, spice it up a little bit. Change out the grape jelly for some strawberry jam or something. Make a little bit of something different. Oh, that wasn't my regular peanut butter and jelly. And we have our relationships. It's kind of the same sort of thing. We can have something that we expect and we are looking forward to, that reliability and that predictability. We really like predictability. We want to know what to expect, but we also we don't want to be bored, right? So we can blend these things. I'm going to share a story with you about my son, Stephen. And I've shared this before, and I'll share it again because it's one of my favorite stories when I very first realized how important it is to communicate and provide this safety. So when we were having our quadruplets, they weren't born yet. And my son, Stephen, he'd always been more of an observer. He likes to watch and learn instead of talk and think it out like my other son, Dallas. He is a process while you talk it kind of person. He talks everything. He's very verbal. So anyway, Stephen shut down and he talked even less than what he was before. And so we were like, he won't talk. What do we do with him? And so I took him to the grocery store. I said, I'm going to have some one-on-one time with my son and really connect with him. And he'll just naturally start talking to me, right? Because he is alone. There's nothing else to worry about. And I'm going to give him some direct questions that he can answer either this way or this way. And it was like, which cereal do you want? Do you want this one or do you want this one? And which ice cream do you want? How about chocolate or vanilla? And he wouldn't talk. He still wouldn't talk when it was so simple and easy to just say that one. But instead he meowed at me because he was so stressed out in his little world. He didn't know who he was going to have dinner with or when. He was always going to be fed. I never worried about his safety, but for him, in his world, he didn't know what to expect. And it wasn't safe enough to branch out into talking. So there's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Oh, it looks like it puts the words the right way this time. So we've got our basic needs down here, which is food, water, shelter, and just the basics, right? And then we have order and structure. That's where you're eating, when you're eating. Sorry about my camera going fuzzy. And the more details in it are in the structure, right? And belonging is the next step up the hierarchy of needs. We want him to feel like he belongs. Most of our goals, though, the goals that we set, are way up here in accomplishment. We neglect, do we feel like we belong there? That's why we don't reach our weight goals or our other big things that we want to accomplish, because we don't really feel like we belong there yet. We don't have a support group that we connect with and belong with. And That's usually because we're lacking some order and structure. What is below the next layer? You go down the layers, and as you it goes this way, right? Our basic needs are close to the core. That's how we need to have some things fed before we're able to branch out and reach out to the outer layers. Make sense? Okay, so we were working on him, trying to get him to talk and belong and accomplish this communication bit, but he didn't have a safe place in this base. He didn't have that structure. Where am I eating? Who am I going to eat with? What am I going to eat? Because I was on bed rest and we had a lot of people helping, and so it was just kind of chaos in his mind. It was organized chaos because we always had a sign-up sheet, and I knew where people were going to be, but I still didn't know if he was going to be fed hot dogs or lasagna. Who knows? Because someone else was going to take care of him during that mealtime. And so anyway, we went down the layers, got to the core of the problem, and we were able to find that he had this issue. As soon as we set up a structure, some sort of routine, we put it seems really simple. And usually the solutions are simple. They're so simple we overlook them because it has to be more complicated for a much more complicated problem, right? So we just put a Post-it on the fridge, and we would stick it up there with a magnet, but I said, dinner is at this time and you will be eating this. We still didn't know who all the time, but you're going to be fed and you're going to have something that you can plan on. And after a couple of weeks being consistent with that little step in that structure, he opened up and started talking. And he would say stuff like, I don't like hot dogs. I would rather have peanut butter and jelly, right? And so we were able to get that goal, that bigger goal, because of the structure. Now, if we think about it, have you ever known a kid or children who were just out of control, crazy, like pushing their limits, really testing to see if they're really going to get in trouble or not? They're just, you said not to. I wonder if you really mean not to. And then they go do it to test and see if that's really true. And then sometimes we don't give them the consequence that we've promised. Or we're like, oh, that's just a little thing. I won't really, it's not worth my time to discipline for that. Well, then what happens? If we don't follow through on saying this is what the limit is, if we don't follow through and say, yes, that's a limit, and here's a consequence, then they say, oh, that wasn't really a limit. Let me push a little further. Maybe it's over here instead. Maybe if I do this bigger trouble-causing scene, tantrums in the grocery store, they push their limits because they need to know where they can play. They need to know how big their playground is, basically. And we do this still as adults, too. We don't ever grow out of this. We're always testing. Lots of people, here's a really common one. We go to work. They say, be on time. You're 1 minute late. Yeah, it's just 1 minute. You're 2 minutes late. You're 5 minutes late. Nothing happened. Maybe I can be 10 minutes late. Oh, because I think I just need to check out 5 minutes early. I need to check out 10 minutes early. And it becomes this strain on our integrity, but we're looking for, where are those limits? Do I really have to be on time? Do I really have to show up and play in these limits? Well, when we have limits, it helps us to be more creative, and it provides a safe place to play. It's a safe place to play. When we would go to the park, there's a playground, and then there's like this great big giant park. It's huge. It's huge. And we say, stay in the sandbox, or stay in the wood chips, or don't go beyond that tree over there. And then they just run around and play and whatever. You know where they are. You know how to find them when you need them, and they know what to expect. If you just say, oh, we're at the park, and there's no limits, Oh, it's stressful. It's hard to do. You're like, oh, they're running over there. No, they're running over there. Ah, I gotta go find them. And if there's more than one kid, which way do you go? You set limits. You don't say you can't play. It's where to play. It's more like boundaries. We have these safety boundaries, want to be safe. And we want to set up boundaries for ourselves in our relationships as well. We want to say, you can't step on me more than once. Once, okay, you didn't know that that was a boundary. Let's have a conversation. You're not allowed to treat me this way. I don't like it. Please do this instead. We don't do that game. And I don't even think you need to have 3 strikes, you're out. If those boundaries are set and clarified, those are the boundaries. When you're at the park and the kids are going beyond the limits that you've set them, we're done playing at the park. We go home. You don't get to run all over the place. That's just crazy. If you've got more than one kid running all over, sorry, you're in the seatbelt, in the stroller, and we're walking home right now. You don't break those boundaries. You don't push your limits too far, because those are there for safety. They're for safety of mind for a mom trying to keep track of her kids. But those boundaries are there for safety in our relationships as well. We want to set firm boundaries and give those consequences when they are needed. If someone keeps stepping on us, we can move. You don't have to keep going there. If someone's throwing mud at you, you don't have to stay there. You can say, I don't like that mud being thrown at me. And you can step over to the side. Or you can put up an umbrella so they hit the umbrella or the shield instead. You don't have to keep jumping in their mud puddle that they're collecting their mud from. Okay, those are this way. Those are the basic needs and order and structure. When we have those boundaries safe and secure, we worry that when we say you can't throw mud at me, or we have these boundaries that we don't want people to step on us and push us down and whatever, we worry that it's going to strain that relationship. I want to have a good relationship with that person, especially if they're part of our family or our in-laws or something. We don't want to have that relationship strained by us being too firm. But as you can see here in the hierarchy of needs, if you don't have the order and structure in place, it's really hard to belong. And you can't accomplish those things as easily. Sure, there's people who do accomplish and they work so hard and they get miracles, but really it's so much easier to achieve things when you have something that supports it as a base and the structure to that. So I wanted to share a little more about that. So our kids test their limits. We test our limits with our people that we're around. And we just want to have these parameters. Where can we play? So structured spontaneity. Okay, this is the fun part. We don't want to be boring. We don't want to be harsh and say, oh, I'm all about boundaries. Don't touch me. Don't push me. We want to have fun, right? We want to have fun with everybody. Now, what do we do when we are bored? My kids, it's summer, so that comes up sometimes. I'm bored. I don't know what to do. I'm so bored. Well, as a mom, it's always easy to say, if you're bored, I can give you something to do. There's cleaning your room. There's pulling the weeds. We can make a list of things to do if you really can't think of anything at all. If we have these limits, we have a place to play with our imagination. Okay, we're bored. You can't go run out in the street. You can't go to the movies every day. You can't be on your electronic stuff all day. We have times for reading. I know that's weird, but my kids get in trouble for reading too much because we love reading. We just love reading. Anyway, we have these rules, these limits that are set up there. You can play within these parameters. And it looks like you have all these Legos. You have all of these board games. You have friends and things you could do outside. You could ride your bike, you could ride your scooter, you could play basketball, you could play soccer, you could play baseball, you could dance, you could sing, you can practice your instrument, you can do all these things, and you can create something new, but you can't be on your electronics, and you can't read a book. Those are my rules. I mean, you want to let your kids read, that's great, but my kids, we overread. We'll read more than one book a day, and they're big books too. So I know it sounds funny. We do. And I love that about my kids. I love that. But we have these limits that we focus on. Oh no, I can't be on my electronics. I can't, whatever that limit is. And we go, there is a wall right there, and it's stopping me. But we forget about all these other things that are within our playground that we can do. And so that's what I'm going to invite you to do today. Look at where your perimeters are. What else is within those limits? Can you create something new? Maybe, so Sundays, we try to keep the Sabbath day holy. This is when we're working on right now, where it's got a few more limits on our structure of the day, right? But within those, you can journal. How often do you sit down and take time to journal, write out your thoughts? That's a great thing to do on the Sabbath day. Reading scriptures, singing. Again, I love music. Music is so good for the soul. There's different kinds of music. You can sing, you can play an instrument, you can just listen to it, and it changes how we feel, right? And then because we feel different, we act different, and we interact with other people differently. And it's not limited to just music, but that's one of our favorite things. How often do you call or send a letter to grandma if she's out of town? We have out-of-state family. There's so many other things to do when there's even more limits. We try not to watch TV. We don't generally watch TV very often anyway, but it's setting apart a playground for something else. Like in this playground, we have these relationship building things. We want to keep in contact with our family that's out of state. We want to make more effort to call and send letters and things like that. We just get busy and do other things on the other days. So it's like gift cards. Okay, gift cards are limited. You don't get to go play anywhere you want. It's not like a $10 bill. You have a store that you have to go to, this one store. You can't go anywhere. You have a limit. You can go and get anything at all in the whole store that you want that is this much money on the gift card, but it's only at that store, right? And so gift cards have been my nemesis. I don't get out to new places very often. And so my mother-in-law sends us gift cards for birthdays and Christmas and everything. And I just collect them. I have this stack of gift cards. And so I've been working on my love language of gifts, and I decided, you know what, it's time. Today is the day I'm going to go buy something with that gift card. Never heard of this store before. I'd looked it up a couple times online, and I was just like, I'm just going to go and get it and not be browsing on the store online. I'm just going to go and see what there is. Well, don't you know, I'd never been there before, and I wasn't really looking forward to it, but here's what I found. Isn't this fun? Now, this is something I would never have thought. I need to go buy something shiny and sparkly. I would never have thought of that. And it's beautiful. I'm going to redo the office based on this. This is going to be my, what do they call it? My spark kind of whatever. This is where we're going to build from, okay? And so I never would have even gone in that store. It didn't have anything in there that I thought that I needed. This is definitely not a need. It's a fun, happy want. And that's what we have with the limits. When we set our limits and we can play within and be all spontaneous, you never know what you're going to get. If you're going to a store that you've never been, you got this gift card, you have no idea what's there. It's all spontaneous, but you set a time. I'm going to go do something right now and go do it. So that's one of the fun things too, that you can set a time in your schedule that is fun time. It doesn't have to be, I'm going to do da 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 da. You can just have time to go have fun. And we would do this with our kids a lot when they were younger, especially because I had forgotten how to play. I'd forgotten. I had grown up of being all responsible, have to be the mom, and have to teach them and show them how to be responsible and learn all this stuff. But that's not what kids are about. Kids are about playing. And do we ever really want to grow up all the way? I think the people who stay young at heart enjoy life a lot more. And so I tried really hard not to tell my kids, act your age. And because for one thing, I had a hard time remembering how old I was. Age is a hard thing to keep track of sometimes. Anyway, I would sit down with my kids and set the timer. Love my timer. Set your timer for 15 minutes. I had 15 minutes. And I would be like, okay, this is mom time. And I'm going to do whatever kind of game or visit that you want to do. As my child, you're in charge. I'm here for you. And let's play a game. And I had to practice and learn how to play again. I know time is interesting because 15 minutes, that first time that I sat down and I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to play. How do I play? We're going to do something. And it was hard. I was checking my clock every 2 minutes, every 30 seconds sometimes. I was like, oh, I still have 11 minutes left of this. I don't know how to do this. But over time and practice, I was able to play and have fun. And we're like, oh, the timer went off. I guess we're done already. Wow. And that change in perspective of time was very interesting. We think that time is a limit. We think sometimes that we're limited and have boundaries of time. And it's not necessarily true. Any of those limits and boundaries that we have set are up for perspective change. And so we've got about 5 minutes left. Let me make sure I've told you everything you need to know. I am Lydia Taggart with Layers of Communication. It's brought to you by Taggart Trainings. And we are going to be having a parents' play shop. I would love to have you come and join us in August, on August 11th. Our next one is we're going to be talking and setting up some parameters and playing. We're going to practice this, and then you'll get to go home with a whole set of tools in how to play, how to set boundaries and perimeters, and what those fun, spontaneous things that you want to do within your playground at home with your kids. We're going to set that all up, and it's just going to be so fantastic. We'll talk about AM and PM routines. That's setting the boundary at the beginning and at the end of the day. If you do the stuff that you set out in the morning first thing and the stuff that you set out at the end of the day, everything else in the middle is just awesome. If you do the beginning and the end, everything else just lines up. Those are the boundaries for your day and the structure. So we are going to be, we're going to just have fun and set up some fun things. And spontaneous, structured spontaneity, that's what we're calling it. Structured spontaneity, creating that safe place, and we'll practice and play. And you can ask all the questions you want. If you sign up before, like the early bird kind of stuff, if you sign up in the early bird time frame, then we will also have a free 30-minute session with me, so we can set up a little bit of structure for you to play in before we get there to really make the most out of being at the Parents Play Shop. And get into your personal, what you really need in your family for you and your life. You can find me at lydiataggart.com and also at layersofcommunication.com. And we will be seeing you next week. We're going to have a great time. Let me know if this 30 minutes, we're doing 30 minutes instead of an hour, changing the structure a little bit, seeing if that can get the information to you a little bit faster so you don't have so much, you can fit into your schedule a little bit more. Okay, I'm Lydia Taggart with Layers of Communication, and I am really excited for you to have a little more safety in your life so you can have a little more fun. And remember, you're worth it, and so are they. All right, talk to you later. Love you. Bye.
You've been listening to Layers of Communication with your host, Lydia Taggart. Tune in next week as we discover the layers in order to communicate and connect down to your core on Lydia Taggart's Layers of Communication.